Man, it's the T-Train Show. Y'all know what time it is, man. What up, T? What up? Hot Rod. What up? L-Train. Y'all know what time it is, man. It's the 3 to Hard.
Welcome to another edition of 3 the Hard Way. I got my fellas with me. We got a lot to talk about today, but before we get to that, I got to introduce my fellas. I always got to introduce my fellas. The show is not the show without my fellas. First one is the influencer. The inventor of 3-a-days for people that need it is my guy, Mr. Hot Rod, Coach Rodney Young. What's going on, Hot Rod?
What's going on, fellas? What's going on, 3 the Hard Way Nation? Y'all know who this is. It's your friendly neighborhood coach. And I always say, you may not like what I say, but you will listen.
And right beside us, you don't want to be in his boot camp, because I know he's got somebody, he's got some people today that he's going to put in his boot camp. But as always, we welcome the captain of our ship, Mr. Terrence Austin. What's up, T?
What's happening, fellas, and what's happening, everyone out there, 3 the Hard Way Nation? Let's go. Let's get this ship underway. Let's get it rolling. Get it rolling.
Man, lots to talk about. But I would be remiss, Hot Rod and T, I would be remiss, man, if we did not start with the AL Central champs, the Cleveland Guardians. We always come on this show, well, I shouldn't say always, but there are plenty of times when we come on this show where we are disappointed. Our teams have let us down. The franchise is making us frustrated about some different things. The Cleveland Guardians, if I'm not mistaken, came from 15 and a half games back.
Yes, they did.
To win the AL Central. I'm not a super big baseball guy, but I follow the Guardians a lot, especially when they're playing well. Give me your thoughts. What is the city of Cleveland feeling right now about the Cleveland Guardians, T?
Fellas, I wish I was there, because the fans are the fans are excited. They are excited. They're beyond themselves. You know, like you said, at the end of, what was it? The end of August, beginning September, they were like 16 games back, okay? And Detroit was lights out the favorite. They were the favorite. However, this team, didn't give up. They didn't read the headlines. They didn't listen to all the naysayers. They just kept on grinding, okay? And at that point, I, as a fan, and the Guardians/Indians are my favorite team in Cleveland. They are. Going back to the mid-'90s with those teams with Carlos Baerga and Kenny Lofton and Omar Vizquel, Jim Thome, Richie Sexton, Charlie Nagy, Skipper Hargrove. Those were my teams. Those were my guys. When the Browns left Cleveland, I, just took a loving to them. And growing up, my mother was a big baseball fan. I remember she used to listen to the Indians in the backyard in her radio back when they were winning 15, 16 games a year, okay? She was a diehard fan, So anyway, I fell in love with them really in the mid-'90s and been, they've been my favorite ever since. But again, they were left for dead, man. They were left for dead. However, they just didn't give up. What was it? Just about 3 weeks ago, they got swept by the Atlanta Braves. They played the Marlins in a series, and then the next series they got swept by the Braves, and I was just done with them. Man. They threw the remote, was done with them. But hey, they said, the heck with you. They just kept on fighting, man. And here they are. And fast forward to yesterday's game. Detroit had already lost to Boston, okay? So Cleveland having the tiebreaker at that point where they saw it, because all the games started at the same time yesterday, but the Detroit-Boston game was already over, and Detroit had lost, and they had the division, and Cleveland was down 2 runs to that tough Texas Ranger team under the tutelage of Bruce Bochy, who I think is the best skipper in baseball, okay, with those Texas Rangers. Bochy and those had them, but the Guardians didn't give up. And what do you know? They were down 2 runs, and they end up winning 9-8. Okay, so they are a team that I wouldn't want to play. I would not want to play. Fellas, they remind me a little bit of that 97 team, okay, that lost Game 7 to the Miami Marlins in the World Series. That 97 team, remember or not, they went in as a wild card. They were kind of mediocre all season long. But one thing about baseball, at the end of the season, it's all about pitching and timely hitting, and that team caught fire. So right now, so is our team. they're not that great. You know, they got Stephen Kwan and J Ram and a couple other guys, but since they went to that 6-man pitching rotation, hey, they've been lights out, and they're confident. They're confident. They, from what I hear on the ground from the beat reporters and everybody, they go into every game thinking that they can win, man. So hey, they are something to be excited about. I'm excited about them. Like I told my sister, give me a reason to make that 9-hour drive to Cleveland and watch them in the playoffs. Give me that reason to do it, because I'll do it. But yeah, thank God for the Guardians, I tell you, right now, for the Guardians, and like you say, for the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Cavaliers about to put it in motion. Because our Browns, man, I tell you, they're I'm going to have to get on the couch of Dr. Jones. When you let me know when you have clinic this week so I can get on Dr. Jones's couch. But that's my take there. That's my take.
Oh my!
Hey, Rod.
What do you got, Hot Rod? What do you got?
So shout out to Stephen Voigt.
Yeah.
If he is not coach of the year again, I'll be completely surprised. This team was down and out.
They were down.
They were out of it, but they just kept chugging along. They kept fighting. Of course, after both of the pitchers were their closer was taken out because of possible alleged gambling. They had a lot of hills that they needed to climb, but Stephen Voigt kept this team together.
Yeah, he
Listen,
did.
here's a stat for you guys. The Cleveland Guardians pitchers have gone 19 straight innings with 2 runs or less.
That's pitching.
That is
That's
tremendous pitching. Okay, you're talking about Gavin Williams. Gavin Williams and Tanner Bybee are studs.
Yeah, they are.
That bullpen, the bullpen closes it out. You understand? They galvanized and came together. But the head of that snake is Jose Ramirez.
Yeah, he is.
Jose Ramirez.
J-Ram.
Let me tell you something. He is a battering ram when it comes to the regular season. My thing about Jose Ramirez is we need to see him step up in the playoffs. He kind of flames out when it comes into the playoffs because teams pitch around him. Okay, so that's where these other guys, Bo Naylor and these other guys have to step up, okay, and help Jose out. Listen, they went through Detroit like a hot knife through butter, and they were not afraid of Terrence Skubal. However, that dude is a Cy Young Award winner and probably gonna win the Cy Young again. They got to go through him now. This is a best of 3 now.
Yep.
This is a best of 3, and Terrence Skubal is going game 1 on Tuesday against Gavin Williams.
Tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah. Yep. So it's a best of 3, and whoever wins game 1, there's a high chance that they'll win the series. So the Guardians have got to come with whatever they have. I'm really excited to see it. I'm thankful that the Guardians, did what they did, coming back from 15 behind. Now, of course, you can say it was a monumental comeback for the Guardians, but it was also a disaster for the Detroit Tigers.
Collapse.
Disaster.
Yeah, it was.
That was an epic collapse. Okay, and so shout out to Stephen Voigt and the Guardians. I can't wait to see this. Because teams in the MLB have to peak at the right time. And right now, the Cleveland Guardians have peaked at the right time. Let's see how far they can go with it.
Yeah, this is why I love having you guys on the show, because this is what makes our show so well-rounded. We could talk football, we could talk basketball, we could talk baseball. You guys obviously are aficionados of the baseball game. But tell me this, we've been here before, guys. We've been here with the Cleveland Guardians making the playoffs before. This is not unfamiliar territory to us. And I've always said this. Number one, we're going to enjoy this moment. We're going to enjoy the Guardians making the playoffs. So we're not going to look too far ahead. But I've always said, whenever the Guardians, the Cavs, the Browns, whenever they win a title, it's probably going to come where there are no expectations and people just don't think that it's going to happen. It's going to come out of nowhere. Being 15 and a half, 16 games back, I thought everybody was kind of in the mode of, okay, this is probably going to be a season where the Cleveland Guardians won't be in the postseason. Now look where we are now. Is this a team that can potentially run the table in your eyes? It's okay if it's not, but what are the percentages or what are the chances that this team can actually make it to the World Series?
Well, no one's really giving them a chance, L Train. Okay. How would I put it? I didn't expect much out of them this season after, the great run that they had last year, okay? Making it
Mm-hmm.
to the AL, CS and losing to the Yankees. Come off season, they didn't really spend any money. They didn't, do much. So going into this year, I knew we were going to be kind of up against it. So I didn't really have that many expectations out of them because, again, they don't spend money. We're good with developing players in the farm system, and then they
Yeah.
peak, and then we can no longer afford them, and then they always go, a la, the kid that went to the Mets that we just lost, Frankie Lindor, that we lost a few seasons ago. So that's been our
Yep.
story. Now, right now, if you ask them, hey, they feel that they can beat anybody. And that's all that matters, okay? Because they feel that they can. I don't really have, expectations of them going forward. But the way they've, scratched and clawed the last month or so, making themselves relevant, winning the division. Hey, again, I wouldn't want to be that opposing team going up against them. So I like our chances. Now, if they get beat in this 3-game series, because like Rod say, that's a quick series, that's fast. And I don't like that format, but hey, that's how it is. But again, they feel confident. They're playing with confidence. They feel they can beat anyone. And I love how, the skipper has kind of been a great leader because, again, back when they were 15, 16 games behind Detroit, they had a 10-game losing streak. They were left for
Right.
dead. They were left for dead.
Right.
They were going at it with one another, but the skipper showed poise, he showed leadership, and he kept those guys, heads in it. Like Rod said, we lost 2 pitchers to alleged gambling, but again, they did not give up. So, hey, I'm with them. And even if they don't win, their first series, I'm still proud of them because they're a team that fights. They're a team that fights. They're scrappy. They're gritty, gutty. Yep, just like the city of Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have high expectations. I mean, number one, like I said, you had the gambling, thing that took place. They traded away one of their starting pitchers. They were thinking about trading away Stephen Kwan,
Right. Glad they
which they
didn't.
did not do. They didn't pull the
Right.
trigger on
Right.
that. They did get rid of Bo Naylor. So I was like, okay, and the Guardians really don't spend a lot of money. They are kind of like a high level developmental ball club because they develop great starting pitching and then can't afford to pay them. Now, what I'm hearing is that eventually the Dolans are going to sell the Guardians, and then you might get an opening of payroll that might take place. But I did not have the Guardians winning the division. There was
I didn't
either. Yeah,
I didn't
see that
have
coming.
them winning the division.
Mhm.
Okay, and so they chugged along. And like I said, they put pieces together. And like I said, Stephen Voigt did a great job in keeping that team together. And like I said, that starting pitching just turned into they were lights out. Gavin Williams is a stud.
Yeah,
he is
yes.
the number 1 pitcher on this team right now. And Tanner Bybee is right behind
Right
him.
behind him. Right.
Okay. So what I'm saying is you got a 1-2 punch. Now, my only issue is you're now playing the Detroit Tigers 3 times in less than 2 weeks. Okay. And now you're in a series where you got to win at least 2 out of the 3. Now, what it used to be a few years ago is it was a one and done for the wild card.
One and done. Right.
So that's why. And so they switched it. Switched it. So, but this game 1 is going to be huge.
Huge, real
okay,
huge.
and
Yeah.
like I said, it's Terrence Skubal who's going to win the Cy Young again. But the Guardians have beat them. Has beat Terrence Skubal the last 3 times they went against him. Okay, so I'm very optimistic, and I'll say this: if the Guards can beat Detroit, they just might go on a run.
Man.
How far they go, I don't know,
Right.
but they just might go on a run. You know what I'm saying? And remember, I said this, guys. I know we said this about the Cavs, but if the Guardians or if the Guardians of the Cavs, we ain't gonna talk about that other team. If the Guardians of the Cavs win a championship, brother, I'm going back to Cleveland. We're gonna have to do a 3 the hard way from Cleveland.
Sure will.
Oh, that's a
Okay.
bet.
That's a bet.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'll get on a plane for that one. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. But to answer the question, no, I did not have a whole lot of hope that they were going to get
No,
to
I
where
didn't
they
either.
are right now.
I didn't see
Yeah.
it coming. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody but
No,
them.
no.
They said they
Yeah.
saw it coming, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
They said it. They saw it.
T, you said something really interesting a few minutes ago when you were talking about the philosophy of the Cleveland Guardians, how they develop farm system guys and they
can't afford
eventually go away. This is a question for both of y'all. Would you like to see a salary cap in baseball?
Wow. Now, how would I put it? Now, the Kansas City Royals, small market team, have one.
Yep.
The Texas Rangers, a small market team, have one. Who else am I forgetting? Who else? Who won it last year? That was it Philly? Was it Philly?
I can't remember.
Okay,
right
in the past, small market team. I mean, look at those old Marlins teams. Okay, they won it. That's kind of hard to say. It's funny. I wish we would spend more money. I wish we had the ability to spend more money. Just like I said, I wish the late great Jordan Steinbrenner, would have bought the Indians years ago, who was from Northeast Ohio, and maybe we would have, had that, the same kind of mystique that the New York Yankees have. I wish we could spend more money. I wish when it came time to keep, our players that we could afford to keep them. But again, like I say, on the flip side, there have been small market teams that have won this thing, So you can't always say, I mean, look at, the Mets payroll. Where are they right now? Sitting at home watching us. And that's going to be part of, my two-a-days, one of those New York Mets who, making $51 million a year and his team isn't there. So, again, that's kind of tough for me. I don't know how Rod feels. But again, like I say, in the past, small market teams, I mean, heck, we've been there. We just haven't cashed in,
Yeah. The Texas Rangers won the World
Right,
Series last year.
right.
Just to,
Okay.
yeah.
I just, I go back when you talk about, small markets. I go back to that 95 team. Okay. Where the late Dick Jacobs was the owner of that team. And you're thinking of Eddie Murray, Albert Bell,
Yeah.
Kenny Lofton.
Manny Ramirez.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? You got Roberto Alomar, Sandy Alomar. You know what I mean? The list goes on and on and on. And their payroll wasn't out of order. Okay. I just look at it as I think for the Guardians, for me as a Guardians fan, I'm just tired of seeing starting pitching, Cy Young Award winning pitching, and they come around and they want to get paid and you can't pay them.
Can't pay him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Frankie Lindor should still be a Guardian.
Yeah, he should.
Okay. And Jose Ramirez took a discount
To stay with us.
because he loves the city of
Yeah.
Cleveland so
Yeah.
much.
Yep.
This man is top 3 in the MVP voting every year. And but he loves Cleveland. I think they just named a park after Jose Ramirez, if I saw it correctly.
Yeah, they did. Yep, they sure did.
Yeah, so the small market teams have been proven that they can win. I just would love for the Guardians to put in just a little bit more money. Not a lot,
Right.
but a little bit more to keep these homegrown talent. Because think about it. Through the history of the Indians / Guardians, there hasn't been a whole lot of trading for big time players.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
that a lot which is a credit to their farm system. They know how to develop good talent.
Yeah, they do.
Okay,
Yeah,
they do because, like I said, you go back to 95. Albert Bell, homegrown. Manny Ramirez, homegrown. You know what I'm saying? These were homegrown guys. All right, Charles Nagy, homegrown. They're in the farm system. Okay, Frankie Lindor, homegrown. So they know how to see talent and they know how to develop talent.
Yeah.
The problem is they can't keep the talent.
it. Yep, can't keep it. Yep.
Yeah, for sure, man. So, nothing but the best of luck to the Cleveland Indians. The one crown jewel. Obviously, the Cavs are starting up. We don't know what they're going to be like. But after the loss from the Cleveland Cavaliers in the playoffs last year into the Cleveland Browns season this year, man, the one bright spot right now are those Cleveland Guardians. So we wish him nothing but the best of luck. Now, fellas, we got to take our medicine.
Ah,
We got to open it up. We got to talk. This is the therapy session out there for the Cleveland Brown faithful. We can't ignore this, guys. We can't ignore it. We got to face it. We got to look it in the face. We got to talk about the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, the big topic of conversation is, you could argue between Kevin Stefanski, Joe Flacco, but I think the top topic of conversation is Joe Flacco. When will Kevin Stefanski pull the plug? And when is a good time for Kevin Stefanski to pull the plug? Obviously, I think 95% of the population think it's going to be Dillon Gabriel. I think it's going to be Dillon Gabriel as well. But when do you do it? You got the Minnesota Vikings coming up. Pretty good defense, throws a lot at you, throws a lot of eye candy at you pre-snap. I think that will be overwhelming for a young guy that has never started before for its first start, but you never know. Maybe he can handle it. He's an Oregon kid. Maybe he can handle that. Or do you stick with the veteran for one more game, or at least, T, like you said last week, at least a half, just to kind of see what it looks like? And then if Joe Flacco is being old Joe Flacco, you pull the plug at halftime and maybe put Dillon Gabriel in then. But give me your thoughts about when should we, how should we with Joe Flacco?
well, L Train, let me go first, Rod. L Train, yesterday I said at halftime, if Joe's not looking good, pull the plug. Now, the very first opening drive, Joe went down the field 88 yards like a hot knife through butter, and we scored. I got closer to the TV. I said, hey, man, we may be on to something. But then Detroit got the ball, and they did the same thing. I said, well, okay, that's okay. We're in this thing. We're going to be in this thing. And then from that point on, it just seemed like it just started to get worse and worse and worse. To fast forward, here we are right now. The offensive line there's nothing there. Joe still has an arm, but his decision making and his throws, I cringe when he drops back and when he throws the ball, because you don't know where it's going to end up. I think Joe, unfortunately, is at the end of his run. I really do.
I do too.
Yeah, I
I do
think he's at the end of it. And my concern is, like Big Brother Greg said, we don't want to wear that defense down. We don't wear them down. But if you're going to keep them on the field, they're going to wear down, especially,
You
against
saw it yesterday.
yeah, especially against a high-powered team like Detroit. Next week with Minnesota, hey, you just can't keep wearing them down. Now, granted, I had said about your boys, will JJ McCarthy, take the job back if, Carson isn't playing well. Carson isn't playing well. So as soon as JJ gets healthy, he needs to, resume having that job. So Carson doesn't really scare me, but still, I think it's time to go ahead and pull the plug and put, Dillon in there and, see what he can do. And yeah, like you said, Minnesota's going to throw some things at him that the young boy just ain't ready. I gave you, my military analogy. Me in the Navy a year and a half, a little E2. They say, hey, you draw the Admiral's blood. The Admiral is 30 years senior to me, got gold everywhere, and I was supposed to draw his blood and make it happen. But I did, and that's where I gained my confidence. So, hey, throw Dillon in there no matter what comes his way, and let's see, because it's bad now, fellas. And you all know it, and Rod knows more football than both of us together. He's forgotten more football than we've known. But we got to do something. Got to do something, because right now it's still early in the season. Let's see what we have with Dillon and with Shedeur. Because, again, it's a long season. Next year, hey, do we have to pick somebody else? Let's see what we got. Yeah, but it looks bad right now. And I thank Joe for what he's trying to do. We love Joe. But, but he just doesn't have it. Doesn't have it, man. Doesn't have it.
So there's a couple of people that are responsible for this. Number one, we'll get Joe Flacco out of the way. Joe looks 40 years old. Joe is immobile. But I don't even think that's the bad part about Joe Flacco's game, is his immobility. The problem is his decision making.
Yep.
That's the problem, is his decision making. And I watched Joe Flacco, and he looks shook. He looks scared. He's throwing out of fear. Okay. And, and rightfully so. The offensive line is atrocious. Okay. They are, especially at the tackle position. They're bad. Okay. Number 2 is Kevin Stefanski. And I'm going to use this as case in point. The Browns get to the goal line. You have a stud running back by Quinshon Judkins in the backfield.
He's the bright spot. He's the bright spot on offense.
And you run not 1, but 2 quarterback sneaks with your 40-year-old quarterback who's been taking hits the last 3 weeks. Okay? Yep. So, no. Kevin Stefanski is not getting off the hook with this. All right? Once again, I told y'all, and y'all listened to his press conference, he's a used car salesman. That's what he is. Okay? I'm sick and tired of hearing Kevin Stefanski say, oh, well, we have to own it. You goddamn right you got to own it. You guys stink from the offensive side of the ball. You had all week to game plan, and that's what you game plan? That? Okay, I've coached high school ball for a long time. A lot of these combo routes and routes that these wide receivers are running are high school routes. That's what they're running, okay? I'm surprised that these defenses are not sitting back with a book called Playing Cleveland Browns Offense for Dummies, because that's what it looks like, okay? All right, Quinshon Judkins is the only bright side on that offense, okay? I give Harold Fannin a pass. He's a rookie, okay? He's going to get better. But somebody tell me where David Njoku is, okay? Somebody oh, by the way, guys, hey, newsflash, Jerry Jeudy dropped another ball.
I was about to ask you, why are they dropping so many balls? Why are they dropping the balls? What is it?
Because if you look at them, they're not catching the ball with their hands. They're letting the ball get into their bodies. And any good wide receivers coach will tell you, you don't let the ball get into your body, because if you let it get into your body, it's going to bounce off your pads. Okay? Catch with your hands. All right? There's a kid at Ohio State that I would put on the field more than I would Jerry Jeudy, and his name happens to be Jeremiah Smith. Why? Because he's a game changer. Okay? Jerry Jeudy is not a number 1 receiver. He has made Steve Smith look like a prophet. He does not have the mentality to be a number 1 receiver. He just does not. Isaiah Bond played better yesterday.
Yeah, he did. Bond
than
did.
Jerry Jeudy.
He did.
Okay? But there are no other bright spots on the offense. If I am the defense, I'm having an issue right now. I'm having it. And I heard this stat. The Cleveland Browns have the number 1 defense, the best defense in the league, and have the worst offense in the league. How is that even possible? How is that possible?
Crazy. It's crazy.
So when it comes to Minnesota, them playing Minnesota, I am like this right now. I know Minnesota is going to bring the thunder. I know what they're going to do is mix up some things. But here's my thing. Kevin Stefanski talks so much about Dillon Gabriel, and he's this supercomputer in terms of seeing things.
Right.
He's played so many games in college that he's pro-ready. Well, if he's pro-ready, prove it. Go ahead and put him out there. What is the worst that he can do? Joe Flacco accounted for 6 turnovers yesterday.
Yeah.
6.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I'm not going to let this coach slide out the door either. Bubba Ventrone, you gave up a punt return. Are you kidding me? I'm not for the kicker. He kicked a 50. He missed I think it was a 56-yard field goal.
56,
I ain't mad at him for that.
No, I'm not.
I'm not mad at him for that. Okay? Anything more than 50 yards, that's a 50-50 chance anyway. But the fact that you gave up a punt return.
He didn't even get touched. Did he get touched? I don't. It happened so fast.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
No,
he
didn't
then
get
let
touched.
me ask y'all this question, gentlemen. Who is the last person on the Browns to return a punt or kickoff? I'll wait.
Eric Metcalf.
That's about the only one.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is special teams, when you talk about complementary football, that is all three phases. And right now, the defense is going to wear out, guys.
They're gonna
If
wear
they
out.
keep
Yeah,
doing
gonna wear
this,
out.
they're going to wear out. The Browns are averaging 14 points a game. 14 points a game in the NFL. And that's why I said Kevin Stefanski is to blame. He's had all week. Okay? Listen. Joe Flacco will start this Sunday. He'll start against Minnesota. But I will say this. If Kevin Stefanski is smart, he will have a quick hook and just throw Dillon in there and allow it trial by fire. Throw him in there. Let him go. But you know why he won't do it? I'm going to put this out here. I'm going to let y'all know. Because if Dillon Gabriel is not successful,
That's on him.
okay, he's got to go to Shedeur Sanders.
He don't want to do that.
And he
don't
does
wanna do
not.
that.
He does not want to do that. So here's the thing. Watch the playbook open up when Dillon Gabriel's behind center. All of a sudden, they're going to look like the San Francisco 49ers. I'm telling you right now. Kevin Stefanski is going to throw the ball all over the place. But here is another question. I'm going to end with this question to you guys. What is the identity of the Browns? When you see them play, what is their identity?
Their defense.
They're
Their
a defensive
defense.
team. Okay.
Yep.
That's their identity. That can't be a football team's identity. You've got to be able to score. Okay. And right now, unless you're planning on winning 6-3, Myles Garrett and that defense is going to wear down. They're going to wear down. So I see Joe starting, but honestly, I don't see Joe finishing.
Yeah. I'm going to piggyback off of what you just said because I think there's a lot of validity to it, along with what T just said. Here's the sad part about this is I believe that the Cleveland Browns defense, fellas, is so good. And I have no hesitation on looking at all the defenses around the league and seeing that the Cleveland Browns defense, I would put them in the category of being elite. If they just had an average offense, I'm not talking about they don't have to be, top in the league. They don't even have to be top guys. They don't even have to be top 15. They can be lingering from 15 to 20 and just be able to move the ball, and that will change the whole complexion of the Cleveland Browns season. That's all they have to be.
Yeah.
And supposedly the two-time coach of the year, the offensive genius, that's what he was labeled when he came out of Minnesota because he was our offensive coordinator up here in Minnesota for a while. Like, he can't even get them to there. Like, and that is obtainable. That is achievable. And I know there are some injuries with the offensive line, but there are things as a football coach, and I'm not a football coach, but there are things that you can do to alleviate those sieves that you call offensive linemen, quick throws, bubble screens, move the pocket a little bit. I know Joe Flacco is not nimble, but what you're going to do, sit back there and let him just get attacked by defensive linemen? Like, I just think that there are things that I feel like Kevin Stefanski can do that he is not doing. He is not living up to the supposed aptitude of what everybody says he is. And this is the problem with, I call the young modern coaches, because I talk to them all the time at clinics. I work with them all the time. One of my former assistant coaches, he watches this show, so he won't mind bringing this up. But one of the battles that I would always have with him in our meetings, our pregame meetings, we would be coming up with game plans for teams. And he was essentially my defensive coordinator for my team. Like, everything was complicated. Everything was saucy. There was never just line up, let's just play straight man-to-man defense, and let's just try to get this dub. Everything had a little bit of glitz and glamour to it because it's really important for young, modern coaches nowadays to prove how smart they are. Kevin Stefanski is that type of coach. Like, he needs to prove every single game, I'm the man. This is how smart I am. Now, the beauty of the game on Sunday versus the Vikings, and you guys know I cover the Vikings. I live up here in Minnesota. I covered the Vikings football team. Kevin O'Connell is the same way. So this is going to be the battle.
But it's working for him, though. It's working for O'Connell. It ain't working for us.
It's working because the the Minnesota Vikings, the one thing that they do, T, is they recognize and they can develop talent. But in terms of situational stuff, and I'll give you a perfect example. This past Sunday when we were rallying to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, time was running out.
Yeah.
We had limited timeouts. Carson Wentz goes back to throw. I don't know if you saw this in the game, but we throw a bomb to Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison catches the bomb, tries to run in for the touchdown, gets stopped at the 1-yard line. Now, you really don't have any timeouts. You didn't get out of bounds. The clock is running. So all your players are running down to the goal line. Now, in my opinion, Hot Rod, you get after me if I'm wrong, but the clock is running. Your next play shouldn't be a running play. Because you have to have the forethought that if you get stopped,
that's it.
More time is going to tick off the clock.
Right.
Mhm.
Like, the way I look at it, that's got to be a pass play. 3 things can happen if you throw the ball. It can be intercepted and you lose the game. It can be an incomplete pass and it stops the clock, or it's going to be a touchdown. But running the ball, you put into play now not being able to get into the end zone if you're the Minnesota Vikings and allowing time to run off the clock. And the Vikings needed those seconds at the end of that game. So the reason why I bring that up is because you've got 2 guys, Kevin O'Connell and Kevin Stefanski, that are created from the same mold. It's very important for them. Yep, they have to be the smart guy, and they overthink every single situation. So it's going to be interesting to see both those teams play on Sunday.
And the advantage for the Vikings is that they're already over there. They're already over, in Europe. Their bodies by midweek, this week, their bodies will be adjusted. So when Cleveland flies over, they're going to have to adjust. Maybe it would be smart for, the Browns to leave Cleveland tomorrow and get over there and get their bodies adjusted to it. So, Minnesota already being in, Navy terms, already being over there in theater, they're going to be ready. They're going to be kind of in a routine for, being there the whole week, their schedule, their sleep, their eating, exercise, whatnot, this and that. So they'll be ready. And then here we'll come, at midnight, and try to play a game the next day and look even worse than we've already been looking, So, man, it's just, and I hate games like this. Like my mother used to say, now we're on national TV for everybody to see how bad we are, Man, I tell you.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And T, both of you guys sent out a text. I can't remember if it was Hot Rod or if it was T. I think it was you. You sent me a text a couple days ago, and I just responded with eyeballs about somebody coming off the IR. Who did you say was coming off the IR?
Yeah, well, today, Deshaun Watson's supposed to come off the IR today. Yeah, that's what I heard. And that true, Rod, he was supposed to come off the IR today.
Yeah, he's going to be reevaluated to see where he is. And if he's able to go, they're going to take him off the IR. And
Rod, you sound and look excited, man.
No, because, there's a couple different scenarios. And when you go back to Kevin Stefanski, you talk about Stefanski, the way from a coach's standpoint, a play caller standpoint, I say Kevin Stefanski is petty. Like, he's really petty, to prove his point. And I go back to when Ken Dorsey was calling the offense. Yep. And so Kevin allowed Ken Dorsey to crash and burn. He didn't help him at all.
Yeah, he did.
Because he wanted to prove that his offense is the best offense. And now
he wanted to be the
he's
smart
come
guy.
back.
That's a great take.
He's running the 2 tight end set, okay? But his offense still isn't working. And I'm going to give a shout out to my older brother who said this to me. Kevin Stefanski now is on the hot seat. He can't blame anyone else. He tried to blame Baker. Baker is gone.
Yep.
He tried to Nick Chubb, gone. Okay?
Yep.
These various people are gone. So now it is on Kevin Stefanski. He can't blame anyone else because everybody else is
That's
gone.
right.
So
That's right.
he is the one on the hot seat right now. And so his pettiness might cost him his job because he truly believes that he going to end up in the stadium at Brook Park. And if he continues for this offense this offense is on a historical journey to be the most inept offense in NFL history.
They're bad.
Yeah.
And this guy is supposed to be an offensive genius. Okay? So what I'm saying is when it comes to Deshaun Watson, listen, I'm throwing this out here in the wind. I have no facts to back this up, y'all. So don't come at me, even though I'm all about the smoke. I would see a scenario to where Joe Flacco is cut and Deshaun Watson is activated. So you have
I can see that.
Deshaun Watson, you have Dillon Gabriel, and then you have Shedeur Sanders. Now, remember, Bailey Zappi is on the practice squad.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. He's running scout team. Okay. And Kevin is Dillon Gabriel is his guy. But there is no way in Hades that he does not want Shedeur Sanders on that field. Now, I've talked about Shedeur not being ready, but guess what? At this point, neither is Dillon. He's not ready. But do you want to keep running Joe Flacco out there?
No.
And let me tell you, if you gonna bring Deshaun Watson back, you better be winning. Because if you're not, I'm telling you, I can see a scenario of that happening. So yes, Deshaun Watson is healthy, y'all. He's healthy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you seen any clips of him, Rod? Have you seen any clips?
I've seen him. I'm seeing him running. I've seen him throw the ball. I've seen him roll out. Okay. He's gonna have some rust because he tore his Achilles, but he can still sling the ball. My only issue, like I said, with Deshaun Watson, with all due respect, is he's not the most football intelligent guy. And the reason that I say that is because Kevin Stefanski's offense, he cannot run. He doesn't know how to run it. So that's why they brought in Ken Dorsey, because Deshaun Watson is a shotgun guy. He's straight shotgun. Where Kevin Stefanski is play action, get people on the move, throwing the ball on the move. Deshaun's not built for that.
Rod, help me with this. And you're a football coach, so I'm leaning on you with this. Like, obviously, there are certain concepts I would assume that are similar to things that he's done all of his life, especially when he was quarterback at Clemson, like a lot of the play action pass stuff. Is it more actionable things, like physical things that he's not really good at, or is it verbiage? Because sometimes getting plays out, communicating to people in.
Great question.
When you say he's not the most intelligent football player,
Great question.
like, what is that about? Is it physical stuff? Is it verbiage? Like, what is it?
No, physically he can make all the throws. I'm not, and trust and believe, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to him, but here's the story I heard. When Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry went to Texas to talk to Deshaun Watson, while they were talking, Kevin Stefanski pulled up his offense, and he said, here, I'm too tight end, roll out, play action, yada, yada, yada. And the story goes, Deshaun Watson said, I'm not running that offense. That was his response to Kevin Stefanski. This was before they spent $22 billion on him. He said that to Stefanski. He said, I can't confirm it, but these are the things that I've heard through the grapevine. And he said, I'm not running that offense. I'm a shotgun guy. Okay. And then I'll give you this last example. It was a game that Deshaun played. It was against the Washington Commanders. It was a 3rd down and goal. Kevin Stefanski called the play. Deshaun Watson was confused.
I remember that play. that.
If you go back and you look at the play,
I remember that.
The camera panned over to Stefanski. Stefanski had to burn his last time out.
Yeah, he was
and
livid.
he put his hands on his knees and bent over. he was livid.
He was livid.
Because
Yep,
it
I
was a
remember that.
very simple play. So what I'm saying is it is an execution issue when it comes to Deshaun Watson. He is not comfortable in a Kevin Stefanski offense. I'm not saying that he physically isn't gifted. I mean, look at when he played with the Browns. Look at what he was doing. Other than the Baltimore Ravens game, where he had a really good second half.
10 for 10.
Yeah, he has difficulty running that offense. He really does. And Kevin Stefanski wants the Browns to be known as an offensive style offense, as a sling it, wing it, do whatever you got to do, i.e., why Nick Chubb would only get 15 carries a game. He didn't want that the offense to look, okay, well, it's Nick Chubb. And he's honestly doing the same thing with Quishon Junkins. This team, we got to run the football. Your play action passes don't work until you run the football effectively. There was a couple times Joe Flacco went play action, and before he could turn around, he had Aiden Hutchinson on his backside.
Yep.
That's right.
Back. Yeah.
So the play action does not work if the defensive end does not bite on the run. You've got to run the football effectively. But to answer your question, no, it's not. It's an execution issue with Deshaun Watson in terms of this offense. It's execution. It's not that he physically can't do it. I just think he's just uncomfortable in that offense.
Yeah. Great take. Good point. Well, it's going to be interesting, man. I do think that there's a quarterback change coming, obviously. When it will come, I don't know, but for all intents and purposes,
Hopefully
it looks
next
like
week.
it's going to be hopefully next week. It looks like it's going to be Dillon Gabriel.
Yeah.
I think that there's an element of this where they want to give Dillon Gabriel the opportunity before they move on, and I think they're going to give him every single opportunity before they move off of Dillon Gabriel. I'm with some people. I don't think Shedeur is ever going to get an opportunity to play football in Cleveland. I think he'll be on the team, obviously, for the duration, but I think if Shedeur ever suits up, I just don't see it in a Cleveland Browns uniform. So I think Dillon Gabriel will get every opportunity to be that quarterback. It'll be interesting, man. Early game on Sunday. I did that this Sunday, early game, and you guys are going to be right there with me.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm going to tape it because I didn't go to church this Sunday watching the Vikings and Steelers, but I got a call from I teach Sunday school, and my pastor texted me today say, "Hey, have your butt here this Sunday." So I had to tape it and play catch up. Yeah, I'll be in church this Sunday.
Come on, T. You can't admit that over YouTube.
Yeah, I did.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, why you missed that? You calling yourself out, T. You got to keep that secret.
Got to be honest. You got
to keep that.
Oh man, not a call from the pastor. Come on now.
Yeah. Well, hey man, it's been a tough weekend for all the teams that I root for offensively. So I know the one place that I can go for them to get some rehabilitation is T's boot camp.
That's it.
Let's
T,
go.
man, listen, I've been looking forward to this because I said Sunday night, I'm wondering who T gonna put in the boot camp. There's a lot of good candidates out there.
Yeah, a whole
So when
bunch.
you talk about T's boot camp, who you got, man?
Yeah,
Who you putting in there?
I'm gonna stick with baseball. I got two candidates. One is going at the guy that we're going to see tomorrow, Tariq Skubal. Okay, the pitcher, the ace pitcher, the once again Cy Young winner for the Detroit, Tigers, the Motor City Kitties. I'm gonna give it to him. In the sixth inning, he came apart. You see that we threw that ball to first base. Try to throw it between his legs.
Yeah.
And the unraveling began. Okay, so Tariq Skubal, it kind of reminded me in that series against Golden State in 2016 where Steph threw that lane behind the pass and it went out of bounds and they began to unravel. Leading to our Cavaliers winning. But I'm gonna give it to Tariq Skubal for that, between the leg toss to first base, and it all came apart, after that. So drop and give me 20, Tariq, and he's going to come up later on in the episode, too, for something else, for something good. But I'm going to beat him up now. And then
Drop and give me 20.
Drop and give me 20. And then next, last but not least, I'm going to give it to Juan Soto, or as Rob Parker calls him, Juan Soso, making all that money, $51 million a year, and his team is sitting at home. That's right. The Mets are sitting at home. They're going to watch us. He finished the year, with a 263 average, 43 home runs, 105 RBIs, which isn't bad, okay? But when you're making that much money, you got to get your team to the playoffs. You do, okay? For you to be sitting at home, shame on you. And there was a couple of times during the season, reporters, that New York media is tough. They were coming at him, and he was making excuses and dodging reporters and this and that. So Juan Soto, drop and give me 20 for sitting on the couch right now watching our Guardians play in the playoffs. So Tariq Skubal and Juan Soto. That's it. Report to T's boot camp. That's right.
Two good candidates
That's
for
right.
T's boot camp.
Yeah.
Some of you out there were worried. I know you thought you would escape. So T may not get you this
That's
week.
right.
He'll get you the following week.
That's
He
right.
got a lot of people he can put.
Sure.
There's a lot of room in
T's boot camp. Sure is. Yep.
Nice job, T. Hey, man,
Nice.
listen, here's what I wanted to do with you guys. I sent you guys a text, and I said, make sure you have at your disposal every starting quarterback in the NFL so you can see. And so what we're going to do, I like to come up with all of these little games and stuff to keep you guys on the edge of your seat.
Yeah, you do.
And thinking a little bit. So what we are going to do today, and credit, listen, I know I'm going to have a little bit of an advantage because obviously I know what the game is. So I've had some time to think about it. But to kind of even it up, I will go last. So you guys can have the field and pick whoever you want. And I will not look at an NFL schedule. So I will be doing this thing stark naked in terms of who I pick. Here's the game. I want you to look at every starting quarterback in the NFL right now. And I want you to pick, who do you think is going to have the worst weekend out of every quarterback? So, and how we're going to judge this, fellas, is we're going to look at ESPN's QBR at the end of each NFL week. And that's how we will determine the winner. So you're not looking for the best quarterback. You're looking at somebody who potentially will have the worst QBR. Here's another rule. Obviously, injuries happen. Injuries happen in practice. So let's say, for instance, you pick Joe Flacco to have the worst QBR out of any starting quarterback in the NFL. If Joe Flacco somehow gets injured in practice, or if he's somehow replaced, as being the starter on Sunday, you are then forced to take whoever the backup is or whoever comes in to replace that quarterback. I think that's probably the fair way to do it. So this is going to be the quarterback of ineptitude right now. You are trying to find who you think the best quarterback is. We'll rotate each week of who goes first. So this week I flipped a coin. It's going to be Hot Rod. Hot Rod, you get the first draft. If you want to pull up the schedule, because that's going to make a difference, what defense, who they're playing against, that will make a difference in probably their QBR. So you get first draft pick of who you think. T, we'll switch to you. We're having some technical difficulties with Hot Rod. So T, you go with who you think will be the worst quarterback this upcoming weekend, and then tell me why.
Okay. I tell you, a kid that's struggling worse than Joe Flacco is Bryce Young. Okay. Bryce Young of the Carolina Panthers. I think he's about to lose his starting position to Andy Dalton, okay? I think they're about to pull the plug because he was awful, this past week. He was awful. I don't know who they got next week, but and I'm pulled for this kid. I really pull for him. I like him. But I'm gonna start with him. I'm gonna start with him.
That's not a bad pick.
Yeah. Bryce Young, because who is it? Well, let me see. Yeah. Next week they play. Yeah, they got the Dolphins next week. Okay, and the Dolphins are struggling too. Okay, the Dolphins are struggling too, but they got to go down there in that sweat box in Miami and that
tough,
humid, heat. So I don't see things getting any better for them on that grassy, moist field. But yeah, I would start with Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young is is going to he's struggling, man. Yep, Bryce Young.
Yeah. Bryce Young has had a weird career, T. It's like he started off, not so good, and then he got benched.
Yeah.
I don't know, for a while,
Mhm.
and then he came back, and it looked like he had kind of figured some things out,
Right.
but it's starting to go back downhill for him.
It is, yeah, it is. So that's who I'll start.
So
with.
I'm looking.
Mhm.
Yeah. Hot Rod, are you back? I don't know if Hot Rod is back yet. We'll continue to go until Hot Rod can get his situation figured out. Man, I'm looking over this list. And I should have said this too, so this is totally my fault. Okay, so in terms of picking quarterbacks, once you use a quarterback, T,
Okay.
you can't use him for the rest of the season.
Can't use him. Okay, so he's off the board then.
So he's off the board for you.
Okay.
So that's where the strategy comes in. I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at a quarterback where I probably can get a win this week, but I kind of maybe want to save him
Okay.
for another week. I am going to go with Joe Flacco.
Okay.
QBR.
Okay.
I'm looking at the travel. I think that's going to get to the Browns traveling over there, the whole time change. That time change is no joke, man. I've done it. When I coached the 19U USA team a couple years ago,
Right.
we had the United World Games over in Germany, man.
Right.
That jet lag is no joke.
Wears you out. Takes a couple days, if not 3 days,
Absolutely.
to get your body right. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. The Vikings have been over there for a while. I'm looking at the Vikings defense and Brian Flores and things that he can throw at you. I also think that there is a chance that Joe Flacco could be replaced even before the game. I think that's on the table. So then I would get Dillon Gabriel on top of that. But I think, unless Joe Flacco plays out of his mind, I think he's going to be in the conversation for possibly having the worst QBR of the weekend. So
Okay.
Joe Flacco will definitely be my pick. I just think all those things are kind of against the Browns going over there this weekend. This is one of those things where this is a win-win for me.
Gotcha.
Somebody that I like, somebody that I root for.
Video,
the Browns
guys.
or the
I do
Vikings
apologize.
are going to get a W this weekend. So I'm really,
the quarterback
really looking forward to
I am
that.
choosing is
Gotcha.
Michael
So
Penix
those
Jr.
are mine.
That's yours. Okay.
Hot Rod, are you back?
Yep,
I can hear you.
Mm-hmm.
No worries. Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh.
Now, Hot Rod.
Well,
To be
justify
fair,
that.
No,
to be
because if
fair,
Michael
before
Penix
you
goes
choose,
down,
I don't know if you're having
look at
technical
who his
difficulties
backup
or
is.
you heard this, but once you choose a quarterback,
So
you
I'll
can't
take
choose that quarterback
I'll
again
take
for the
Michael
rest of the year.
Penix because trust me,
That-
as long as
that
Joe
quarterback
Flacco
is
is
off
still
your
out
board, so
there,
that
I'm
may
gonna
change your
always be
pick,
able
it
to
may
grab him and sometime down the road, So, but I'll take Michael Penix.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we got Michael Penix,
Bryce
we
Young.
got Bryce Young, and we got
Joe
Joe Flacco.
Mhm.
So
you
it'll
go.
be interesting who has the lowest QBR. We'll keep track of this and do this every week real quick. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'm ready.
But we've
Go
got
ahead.
start
I
one,
hear you. Once
bench
again, I
one,
apologize
cut
for my
one,
video,
erase
y'all.
one. And this week it is the captain's week to try to stump us. What's going
I
on with
got
you?
one
Start
for
one, bench
y'all.
one,
I
cut one?
got one for y'all. Okay, are y'all
All
ready?
right.
You ready, Rod? You ready? Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay, the category for this week, I tried to do it a few weeks ago, but ran into a brick wall, but I was able to put it together. So we're going to go with best sports brawl / fights. Sports brawl / fights. That's what we're going to go with, okay? All right. And the first one, and our start one, bench one, cut one, erase one, we're going to go back to 2004, the Malice in the Palace between the Pistons and the Pacers. Malice
Ooh.
in the Palace back in 2004, okay?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Second one we're going to go with, this one happened a couple years ago in baseball between our guy Jose Ramirez and Tim Anderson. Remember they collided at second base? And that
Yep.
turned into a boxing match. J Ram versus Tim Anderson. And you know what? After that, Tim Anderson kind of went away. You know, he left that team. He went to the Miami Marlins, and then things didn't work out. But I think he's resurrected his career because I think he's with the Angels now, okay? So
Yep.
when those two squared off at second base. Next one is in 1993 when Robin Ventura stormed the mound at Nolan Ryan. Remember that? He he dropped his bat and he went after the old man on the mound, okay? So Nolan Ryan and Robin Ventura. And last but not least, I'm going all the way back to 1977, December 1977, when Kermit Washington and Rudy T collided, okay? I think what happened,
man.
there was we were kids then, Lionel. I think what happened, you too, Rod, there was a fight and Rudy T tried to break it up. Rudy Tomjanovich and Kermit Washington just punched his lights out. It was ugly.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was ugly, man.
Well, I don't remember, but I've seen highlights.
Yeah. So that happened when we were kids, but back in 1977. So those four, okay? So the Malice in the Palace, Jose Ramirez and Tim Anderson, Nolan Ryan and Robin Ventura, and Kermit Washington versus Rudy T. So start one, bench one, cut one, erase one. Let's go ahead.
Okay, so let me clarify. Your criteria is what?
Okay, criteria is which like last week you flipped it upside down, one that we wish didn't happen. With this is simple. The start one is the one that that just got the most attention, was the biggest brawl.
I got you.
Yeah, it was the biggest.
Okay.
Biggest. Yep. You get them all.
Yeah,
you get all four,
I got
Rod. You get them. Okay, gotcha. You
I
remember?
do.
You remember them too,
All
don't
right.
you, Rod?
I do, all of them.
Okay. Gotcha.
I'll go first.
Okay.
I am going to start the Malice in the Palace. Okay? I think you got a little bit of everything. You got players, you got fans, you got concession workers, you got security,
It was
you
some
got
everything that
event staff.
night. Oh, that was ugly.
You got a little bit of everything. I am going to bench Kermit Washington.
Okay.
And Rudy John.
Yeah, Rudy T.
The time that was a pretty intense thing.
Yeah, that was.
You know, I'm just looking at the optics of that. I am going to cut Robin Ventura and Nolan Ryan. That was a good one. So that means I'm erasing Jose Ramirez,
J Ram,
and and J Ram. That's right. So that's my start. Malice in the Palace. Bench Kermit Washington, Rudy Tomjanovich. Cut Robin Ventura, and erase Jose Ramirez.
Okay.
Well, I will say this, L Train. I absolutely agree with you 150%. My list is the same way. I am going to start the Malice in the Palace. I'm going to bench Rudy T and Kermit Washington. I'm going to cut Nolan Ryan and Robin Ventura. And I'm going to erase Jose Ramirez and Tim Anderson.
Okay. Wow. Gotcha.
Okay, this is tough. It's going to be interesting to see what you think.
And I'm similar to you all. I think we all started the Malice in the Palace, okay? I think we all started that. I benched J Ram versus Tim Anderson. I benched that. And Jose Ramirez, how would I put it? It kind of shows his character. He doesn't like that being brought up, okay? Basically he doesn't. He says, I don't react that way. So that was unbecoming of him, okay? So he doesn't like to talk about that. You know, he doesn't like to make reference to it. basically what he's saying is that's not how I am.
Yeah.
However, he was disappointed in himself because he allowed Tim Anderson to push his button. Okay, because Tim Anderson is, from what Jose said, can be kind of aggressive at second base and hitting you a little harder, and doing things to block you from sliding in this and that. He kind of described him as kind of a dirty player. But he said I still reacted the wrong way. But he said I just lost it that night. I lost it. But he does not like to talk about that at all. So again, that kind of shows his character. So I benched that. I cut Nolan Ryan and Robin Ventura.
Okay.
Again, shame on Robin Ventura for charging the mound. He was a young hothead kid, and he ran into a man that day. He ran into a man because Nolan Ryan put him in his place, and I erased Kermit Washington and Rudy T. And I think how would I put it? There was a book behind that. There was a book that told that story, and I think those two guys, kind of squared things away, years later about that. And
They did.
yeah, they did. And Rudy T went through a lot of what would you say? Some PTSD behind that. Because if you look at the pictures, man, I mean, he cracked his face, man. He cracked his face.
Yeah.
He cracked his face. And that's kind of a reminder. And Lionel, you would know this because you coach basketball. People don't think basketball is a physical sport. It's physical.
Yeah.
You're out there with bare hands and elbows and that hard floor. Again, basketball is not a cupcake sport. That's a man's sport. And, women, the women go at it. That's a tough that's a tough sport. That's a tough sport on both sides, So I erased that. So that's my start one, bench one, cut one, erase one. That for there.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Very challenging. And then, some of these, the beauty of what we do is that it kind of brings back a lot of memories and gives you an opportunity to kind of self-reflect on some of these occurrences that happen in sports.
Right.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one.
Right.
That was a good one. Nice
Mhm.
job, T. Time for our parting shots, fellas. Obviously this is a segment that I get a lot of feedback on as
Right.
well. People like it. People,
Right.
a lot of the stuff that we talk about, people don't know.
Right.
People don't know about, and they like to pick our brains and see what and hear what we're thinking.
Right.
So, parting shots for this week. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'm gonna give it to Tariq School. But the other day when he hit David Fry in the face with that ball when David Fry was trying to bunt, that really shook Tariq up, the pitcher for the Detroit Pistons. I mean, for the Detroit Tigers. It shook him up to the point that after the game was over, he texted David Fry when he was in the hospital, and I don't think he got a response, because David Fry was still kind of out of it. So what he did, he wanted to go see him, so he jumped in the truck with the skipper, with our skipper, Stephen Vogt, and rode in the truck to the Cleveland Clinic to visit the guy. And that's where, how would I put it, the human part comes out. At the end of the day, we're all human beings. Put the game aside. He just wanted to make sure that young man was okay. Because, again, he didn't do that intentionally. He didn't. And, that 90 mile an hour, hard baseball hitting you right in the face. He suffered a broken nose, and I think his orbital bone is broken. But, hey, hats off to Tariq Skubal, who we're going to be going up against tomorrow, and I want my team to beat him. But the human side of him, he said, hey, let me go see how this kid is doing. So hats off to him, because he didn't have to do that, but it kind of shook him up. It shook him up. So there you go.
Hey, so for me,
Awesome. Hot Rod, what do you
I
got?
want to take a second. We lost Rudy Johnson. Rudy Johnson was a running back for the Cincinnati Bengals, and unfortunately, he took his own life.
Yeah.
And I want to send prayers out to his family, but I also want to say this is that you never know what an individual is going through. They could be, a supreme athlete, but you don't know what they're going through behind the scenes. And so I say something on my podcast is I say, love on somebody, tell somebody that you love them. Don't always assume that they know. And so I'm saying that to anyone out there, if you are struggling with mental health, if you are struggling just getting by, listen, reach out to somebody who you care about, somebody who cares for you. You're not by yourself, okay? And if you feel like that you are alone, there are hotlines that you can call. Don't go through this by yourself. I feel terrible because he wasn't just a good athlete. From everything that I researched and heard about Rudy Johnson, Ocho Cinco talked about, he was a great person. And so, but we never know what an individual is going through behind closed doors. So listen, if it's somebody that you haven't talked to in a long time, go check in on them. Give them a call.
Give them a call.
Okay? Email, do whatever you got to do. Just make sure that everybody in your life that you love is okay. And just because you haven't heard from them in a long time, don't mean that you can't reach out to them. And if you got an ought with somebody, squash that. It's not worth it. Life is too short.
Yeah.
So that's my shout out.
Just
prayers to Rudy Johnson and his family and the Cincinnati Bengal family for this tragic loss.
Yep.
Great pardon shot. Great pardon shot. You know, the one thing that intrigues me, man, about the NFL is that you see all these young kids that are coming in and franchises are being put on their shoulders. You know, I look at it with J.J. McCarthy. He's 22 years old, and everybody expects for him to come in and have instant change with the Minnesota Vikings. And every year we hype these rookie quarterbacks up like they're savers. You know, they're the new franchise quarterback. A lot of these situations, they're the missing piece. They're the instant star. And every year, the NFL reminds us that the league doesn't care about hype. You look at Caleb Williams, he's learning in Chicago. Again, I mentioned J.J. McCarthy, he's learning in Minnesota. And the truth is, rookie quarterbacks, you know, they aren't really measured by how many highlights they can make in September. You know, they're measured by how many hits they take in November, how many adjustments they can make in December, and then whether or not they're still standing in January. So is it talent? Like, that talent is kind of what gets these guys drafted, but toughness, mental and physical play, it keeps them in the league. And until a lot of these rookies prove that they can handle the grind of it all the hype in the world just won't matter. And that's the rookie reality check in the NFL. And it's just intriguing to see all these young dudes go through all the stuff that they're going through. I'm really close to one with J.J. McCarthy here in Minnesota, man. So it's just really, really interesting to watch.
True.
That's my parting shot.
Gotcha. Good one.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, fellas, well, thanks again for a great show. We got the influencer, Hot Rod. We got the captain, T. Hey, man, looking forward to another show next week. Let's just keep grinding this thing out. Hey, man, listen, I haven't 100% turned the corner on the Vikings. I still love my Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
So for me, this is a win. This is the 1 week where I know I'm going to get a dub from somewhere. If the Cleveland Browns beats the Vikings, I'm happy. If the Vikings somehow beats the Browns, I'm happy with that as well. So this is a win-win for me.
I got you.
I'm happy.
And you know I'm just picking on you because you and I go way back. We go way back. We go way back.
I tell you this, if my dad was still living, he would have a cow that I'm not 100% Cleveland Browns and I'm rooting for the Vikings. But yeah, I'm still there 50-50, man, 50-50.
But part of him also too would understand that, hey, that's where you are now. That's where you've set up camp and this and that. So he'd understand. He wouldn't like it, but he'd understand. He'd understand. Mr. Jones would understand. Yep. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hey, well, thanks for coming on. This has been 3 the Hard Way. Please hit that like and subscribe button. It seems like everybody has noticed the time change. We're on Mondays now at 6 o'clock. I've gotten a couple emails, fellas, from I should have shared this with you, but people are like, man, y'all should start going live. Because a lot of our fans would like to interact with us on YouTube.
Okay.
So we're going to put that on the table.
Gotcha.
We'll get that done. I will say this, by the end of the year.
Gotcha.
We will, by the end of the football year, I should say, we will be live on YouTube because a lot of you guys want to talk at us, and we appreciate that. So we'll get that done for you.
There you go.
3 the Hard Way Nation.
Right.
We'll get that done. So again, signing off, this has been 3 the Hard Way. And as always, we will see you
when we see you. All right.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.